Alright, what is going on, my dudes? We are back here today with the video that some people have asked for me to make. Now, a few months ago, weeks ago, not even sure when, we made one of these with the new featured 6-star pool, where we predicted, based on the current pool, right, what champs we might see as upcoming buffs. Now, none of those predictions have come true yet, but guess what? We're going to try again today because maybe all the secrets are hidden in the 5-star featured pool. All right. So this is the graphic from MCOC Trucos. I actually couldn't find the old one from the previous 5-star featured actually, but we got the new one here. So let's make it a little bit bigger. Now that we have their logo there. All right. I didn't make this myself. But yeah, also that looks bad. So there we go. Beautiful. Look at that. Okay. So the way we're going to do this is probably the worst way possible. I have this little square here, okay? And this little square is going to go over champions that either recently got buffed, are completely new, definitely are not going to get a buff, or just recently got buffed. Did I say that? I'm not sure. But anyway, let's just start with the obvious here. Black Panther, OG Black Panther, right? This guy recently got a buff, okay? On top of that, we also have King Groot, okay? So King Groot also recently got a buff, along with War Machine. So these are 3 champions who recently got a buff, and believe it or not, you might not know it, but Ebony Maw also got a buff, all right? I don't believe there are any other champions on this pool that recently got a buff, okay? Now, there are, of course, some new champions, okay? For example, Shang-Chi and also Jabari Panther. Okay, we also have Overseer along with Purgatory. I don't know if I can, in all good conscience, cover Purgatory just yet. We do have Silver Centurion, who I think is a tad bit underrated. Could he use some value love in the future? Yes, but not as much as like Purgatory, and we're not going to have too many of the newer champions on this list, all right? Now, we also have, that should be, also Mr. Negative. Mr. Negative here is also a new champion. He's definitely not getting a buff, okay? Now, when you look at the rest of this list, there are a couple standouts who are probably not going to get buffed. For example, Captain Marvel movie is fine. Not my favorite champion, but she is fine. Stark Spidey, could he possibly use a little bit of love? Could he get some value for, a value buff for his block efficiency? Yeah. But in total, man, this guy does not need a buff compared to other champions on this list. Of course, we have Namor. Could we revert Namor to the way he used to be and he won't even be close to a, top 10 overpowered champion in the game? Yes, but he's not getting a buff. I highly doubt it, right? And same thing with Namor comes Cull. That happened at the exact same time, right? Now, also, there's a champion here who many people call the best of their class. I don't agree, right? But that's Cable. After the APOC synergy came along, Cable's not getting a buff anytime soon, man. Cable is a fantastic champion now with the Apocalypse synergy. He's going to stay the way he is for quite a while, okay? Now, we have a decent amount of champions left, and a lot of these champions here, they have a strong argument for a buff. I would say the champions with the least arguments for a buff, first and foremost, is Red Hulk, okay? He's been buffed in the past, but so has Gamora. Now Gamora is getting another one. Could Red Hulk get a little tiny value buff, a moderate buff? Yeah, probably, but he certainly does not need it. I don't think that King Groot really needed it, or, King Groot kind of did damage-wise, but there are other champions, like, for example, Ronin, right? Ronin definitely didn't need it, and he got one, so who freaking knows with these value buffs, right? On top of that, when we look at these champions now, I'd say that Longshot also does not need a buff nearly as much as the other champions on this list, and of course, at this point, we're left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 champions, so we are going to get rid of Purgatory at this point, but keep in mind she made it down to the wire here, okay? Now, we're left here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 champions. Now, some of these champions could be better with the value buff. Some of them just need a little bit of a moderate. Some of them, well, they need a bit of an overhaul. And now at this point, I think we're going to abandon our yellow squares here and go into something else. As you can see, I have 3 rings over here. Green for overhaul, blue for moderate, and red, I almost said yellow, wow, for value, okay? So there are some champions here who need an overhaul more than others, okay? For example, let's just point it right to the obvious here. Cyclops needs a bit of an overhaul, wouldn't you say, right? And I feel like, a lot of people have said, oh, Cyclops will never get an overhaul because of Karina's challenges. That's not true. There's a lot of champions who compete who are needed for the Karina's challenges. There's probably going to be more in the future. We can't lock those champions out of buffs for forever, right? On top of that, a lot of people always request a Sentry complete overhaul, right? Now, we have another champion on here who I personally would love to see get an overhaul. Now, I'm sure most people won't agree with this, but I'm giving it to Thor Ragnarok 2. I can't stand this guy. He's MCU Thor. All of the other MCU characters are at least usable. He used to be #1 in Prestige. He's not #1 anymore. He's still in the top 5, but I don't think that should protect him from not getting a buff, right? Up next, we have the moderate buffs, right? So I think that, for example, Mordo has a lot going on. He's a really annoying defender, right? I think that Mordo could be fantastic with a moderate buff. Give him some more attack, give him some more utility, give him some other stuff as well. He already has some stuff going on. He could do some niche things. I think Mordo can be great for this type of buff. On top of that, another champion I would love to see get a moderate buff is Vision. Now, Vision has incredible power control. This is Vision's first time in a featured 5-star crystal. I actually pulled him. I actually like this champion a lot. There's like a little meme between me and Suida where I have 6-star Vision, he doesn't. But yeah, I'm actually planning to possibly rank up my 5-star, take him to Sig 200, hopefully get him awakened naturally. But yeah, I think he's really cool. Definitely a little underrated at the moment. I actually like this Vision more than the OG Vision personally. Also because he's more rare, right? So that's cool. And then, there's a lot you can do with him as well. He's another MCU character, kind of like Thor. I kind of forgot about that. That's MCU Vision. Make him better. Make him better. We just had a whole TV show about this guy, right? I'd say, man, it'd be so cool if they did a buff for this guy, gave him a bit of a moderate, swapped his color palette, made him a little bit more pale, right? No spoilers, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, right? Then we have value updates, man, with the red. And obviously, there aren't too many champions left here, so it's Rogue. I feel like Rogue is a lock. Is a lock for a value update eventually, man, because she's so good, but her timers are so short, and there are some things that have to be updated. Like, she can't steal all the buffs in the game, but she should be able to, right? But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that Rogue could do. She's already amazing if you're a really great player, like Suida, for example. But I feel like she could use a little bit of an update too. And then also we have the champion here, this is an interesting one for me. I kind of debated a bit on this, so I'm actually going to kind of go like this. I'm going to give him the potential between, right? Value or moderate, somewhere in the middle, kind of like an Angela type buff, where Angela technically got a value, okay? But it was kind of more so like a moderate, right? So I feel like the champion can kind of fit into that, because the champion's cool. He has some cool abilities, right? But outside of 6.2, he's not the best defender. He's not the best attacker in general when he's not on the final boss, node. But yeah, so this would be my guess as the champions we might see getting buffed in the future, right? There was a Gamora. Keep in mind, I believe there was Gamora in the previous 5-star feature, okay? So I think, right? I think there was. Or was that 2 ago? No, but I think it was the last one. So that's one champion from the previous one getting buffed down the line. So within the next 6 months, I would bet that maybe we're going to see at least one of these champions get at least a value buff, okay? And I think my money is going to be on Rogue coming first. I don't know, though, because there are already so many good mutants, so I'm really not sure. But these are the champions from this pool. Honestly, in this one too, man, who I think could use some love. We're going to give her a moderate too, man, honestly. So very far down the line, but I do think that Purgatory will receive something to make her a little bit more usable. But yeah, this is who I would think maybe within the next 6 months we see a couple of these guys buffed. We'll have to see. Only time will tell. But anyway, my dudes, is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, drop your boy a big old like. Comment what you think about these predictions in the comment section below. And make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos just like this coming to you in the future. I'll be seeing you around.